Summary of Alex Cross Must Die, a thriller written by James Patterson. Chapter 1. On a mid-November Monday morning, a meticulous 48-year-old man named Marion Davis executes a carefully planned operation in a dingy motel room near Joint Base Andrews. Having spent 3 days in isolation, Davis prepares for an ominous mission, concealed behind plastic sheeting and an array of chemicals. His seemingly innocuous claim of working on a movie script hides the true nature of his activities. The room is transformed into a makeshift laboratory, with plastic storage bins filled with bleach, hydrogen peroxide, and distilled water. Davis, with a sense of urgency, dons latex gloves and begins his preparations, the air thick with the acrid scent of chemicals. He wears goggles and a KN95 mask, leaving the room only under the cover of darkness to gather supplies. Davis retrieves a belt of .50 caliber bullets, each fourth round a tracer that reveals the shooter's position. Through a meticulous process, he replaces the tracers with live rounds, ensuring his anonymity. The paranoia-driven rituals continue as Davis disposes of his clothes, meticulously shaves his entire body, and applies hair remover to eliminate any trace of evidence. He dons a disposable hazmat suit, sealing himself off from the outside world. With the same precision, Davis drains the storage bins, lubricates weapon components, and meticulously dries them. The discarded materials and used tools are sealed in plastic bags, further concealed by duct tape. A new identity emerges as Davis dresses in a Baltimore Ravens hoodie, a National Park Service coverall, glasses with black frames, and a respirator to hide his face. Confident in his elaborate preparations, Davis places the sealed bags next to the motel room's door. A tan utility van parked outside becomes the vessel for his concealed arsenal, including a laptop bought from a Kentucky pawnshop the previous year. As he leaves the motel room, Davis reflects on the perverse satisfaction he feels, believing himself fully in control of his fate and anticipating the impact of his impending actions. The narrative leaves the reader on a chilling note as Davis drives away, contemplating the sinister nature of his mission. The author skillfully weaves together details of Davis's preparations, creating an atmosphere of suspense and unease. The meticulousness of Davis's actions, juxtaposed with his apparent sense of righteousness, adds complexity to the character. The story raises questions about morality, justice, and the lengths individuals may go to justify their actions in the name of a perceived cause. Chapter 2. In the span of the next 3 hours, a man named Davis embarks on a covert mission around Greater Washington, D.C. His seemingly mundane activity of disposing trash bags in separate dumpsters serves as a cover for a more sinister plan that unfolds gradually. After completing this task, Davis makes his way to Thrifton Hill Park in Woodmont, Virginia, near Interstate 66. There, he transforms his vehicle into a disguise by affixing magnetic signs reading, "Ground Crew," beneath the emblem of the National Park Service system. These signs, exact replicas from his observations in the Shenandoah Valley, hint at a carefully orchestrated scheme. Remaining inconspicuous, Davis proceeds to assemble a relic from the Vietnam War era, a Browning M2.50 caliber machine gun. The details of this assembly are meticulous, from attaching a thermal scope to securing the tripod panhead and hydraulic connections. The machine gun, now fully operational, stands within the van, its barrel ominously pointed towards the rear doors. As dusk descends, Davis takes to the road, heading east on I-66 and then onto the southbound George Washington Memorial Parkway. His destination becomes Gravelly Point Park, nestled by the Potomac River. The park, usually a serene location, becomes a stage for Davis's impending act of violence. Upon reaching the park's nearly empty parking lot, Davis positions himself strategically. He uses a laptop to connect to air traffic controllers' communications, monitoring incoming flights. His expertise in landing patterns and approaches, gained over years of observation, becomes a crucial element in his plan. The controlled chaos begins when Davis activates the thermal sight on the machine gun, synchronizing it with the laptop via Bluetooth. As a United Airlines jet approaches from the north, Davis revels in the vibrations caused by its engines as it passes merely 200 feet above him. His knowledge of the park's layout allows him to predict the landing patterns of the next 3 planes. These predictions, relayed by air traffic controllers, guide Davis's actions as he positions the machine gun for the impending attack. Just as Davis sets the stage for the unfolding tragedy, a police cruiser arrives at the park. Anticipating this interruption, Davis is prepared. He engages in a conversation with the officer, weaving a tale about spraying insecticide in the empty park. The officer, seemingly convinced, departs, leaving Davis with the solitude needed for his nefarious plan. With the officer gone, Davis resumes his preparations. He ensures the machine gun is aligned with the upcoming flights, making minute adjustments based on the information provided by air traffic controllers. He sends the officer on a false trail, further securing his position for the imminent act. As the next plane, Delta 944, receives clearance for landing, Davis, hidden from view, activates the firing program. American 839 follows suit, and Davis, now ready for the mayhem, awaits the outcome of his meticulously planned attack. Suddenly, the narrative takes an unexpected turn. Rather than detailing the tragic consequences of Davis's actions, the story shifts focus. Davis swiftly departs from the scene, grabbing a mountain bike from the rear of the van. As he pedals away, the tension mounts, leaving the reader in suspense. Davis positions himself along the Potomac River, monitoring the incoming planes through a thermal scope connected to his laptop. The climax builds as American Flight 839 from Palm Beach International approaches. Davis activates the firing program, leaving readers on the edge of their seats, anticipating the chaos that is about to unfold. The narrative leaves the resolution hanging in the balance, with the impending destruction of the plane and its passengers shrouded in uncertainty. The story masterfully weaves together elements of suspense, meticulous planning, and a disturbing glimpse into the mind of a calculated perpetrator, leaving readers to grapple with the aftermath of Davis's ominous preparations. Chapter 3. In the midst of a routine flight, American Airlines Captain Harry Carpenter, on the verge of retirement, engages in a light-hearted conversation with his co-pilot, Emma Waters. Their dialogue revolves around barbecue, one of Carpenter's favorite topics alongside fly fishing and college football. As they navigate a banked turn over Washington, D.C., Carpenter reminisces about the best barbecue ribs he ever had in Chicago. Waters suggests other renowned barbecue destinations like Kansas City and Memphis, but Carpenter insists that the true hotbeds are in the Carolinas and cinder block roadside joints in Mississippi and Alabama. Carpenter's passion for barbecue is rooted in childhood memories of his father's quest for the perfect rib joint. He vividly describes the authentic experience of enjoying barbecue in unassuming places with paper plates, cold drinks, and creaky old fans. The conversation is momentarily interrupted by air traffic control instructing them to turn southeast and descend to 2,000 feet. Carpenter, with years of experience, navigates the plane effortlessly, reflecting on the evolution of technology that has made flying safer and more automated. The nostalgic discussion continues, with Carpenter revealing that his favorite rib joint, Leon's in Chicago, is no more. He describes the mouth-watering rib tips Leon used to serve, chopped into 2-inch chunks and accompanied by sauce, fries, and bunny bread. Waters playfully questions Carpenter about making a pilgrimage to the Chicago rib mecca, but Carpenter laments that Leon's is gone due to its owner's untimely death from a heart attack. As the plane approaches its destination, the lights of Washington, D.C., and Northern Virginia shine below. Carpenter reminisces about the changes in the aviation industry during his 26 years as a pilot, expressing his eagerness to retire and enjoy a quieter life in Idaho with his wife, Terry, and their dogs. The atmosphere turns reflective as Carpenter confesses that, despite his love for flying, he has grown weary of it and looks forward to a different chapter. The conversation takes a sudden and ominous turn as the plane descends over a bridge, and Carpenter catches sight of a vehicle in an empty parking lot. A hot, orange, and pulsing projectile is launched towards them. Carpenter, drawing on his experience from combat missions in Kuwait, identifies the incoming threat as machine gun tracers just before the cockpit windshield shatters under the impact of .50 caliber bullets. In a moment of urgency and shock, Carpenter apologizes to his wife, Terry, as chaos ensues in the cockpit. The narrative leaves readers on the edge of their seats, wondering about the unfolding danger and the fate of Captain Harry Carpenter and his co-pilot, Emma Waters. The abrupt transition from a casual conversation about barbecue to a life-threatening situation adds a gripping layer to the story, leaving the audience eagerly anticipating the next developments in this unexpected turn of events during what was supposed to be a routine flight.